Greetings, dear traveler. Please allow me to extend our warmest welcome to our establishment. Please do come in. No doubt you have traveled so far trying to find your way. It simply will not do to have you left out in the cold. There we are. It must be nice to rid yourself of the dreadful world outside. Please do make yourself comfortable. I would hate to see anyone coming through our doors feeling any less than right at home. Nonsense. It's my duty to personally see to it that all our guests are properly attended to. And being a drop and making a simple pit stop hardly excludes you from the scope of my services. Could I get your name, if you don't mind me asking? Oh no, there's no problem at all. Just an air of familiarity, if memory serves. If you will allow me but a moment. Well, let me say, I certainly am glad to have crossed your path. As it so happens, the place you were searching for is in fact this very establishment. I am so thrilled you were able to find us. It's no easy trek finding us out. I'm sorry? Oh, nonsense. I am more than happy to accommodate you. I will take you to your suite right away. Now, please don't fret. Early arrivals are hardly an obstacle for our establishment. On behalf of our organization, I must insist that your experience here is up to the same high standard we provide for all our guests who pass through our gates. The circumstances of your arrival are hardly of consequence to how you'll be treated here. However, if you're not ready to settle in, I am more than happy to take you on a tour of our facility. Many of our visitors find that getting acquainted with our services allows them to ease into their accommodations much more smoothly. Fantastic! In that case, let us proceed. Welcome, dear traveler, to the last hotel you will ever need to stay in. Our establishment has gone by many names over the years, but rest assured in that time, we have always presided at the forefront of providing the most unforgettable experiences tailor-made to every whim of every individual who comes through our doors. We pride ourselves on unwaveringly providing every amenity the human mind can conjure. As a matter of fact, it all begins right here in our lobby. This floor of the hotel is what I like to call the museum. Imagine an entire floor dedicated to a collection of treasures so vast that not even the worldliest nomads could comprehend its scope. Yes, the labyrinthian corridors can be quite daunting at first glance, but don't let that perturb you. Behind every door of these halls awaits something guaranteed to take your breath away. Will you find an exotic artifact from an ancient empire? The delectable recipe for your favorite childhood dish? Perhaps an experience you cannot explain with words. I honestly wish I could tell you. Every room you find is a window to a whole new world, and with something new to be found around every corner, you may very well lose yourself here. Why, just ask the visitors who stop in just to kill some time. Many of them will tell you that they could spend days wandering from room to room in search of a new experience. Well, that is, if you could pull them away long enough to get a word in. If you were to ask me to describe in one sentence, I would say it is the greatest place to be when you forgot where you had to be. With that being said, we should keep moving. As tempting as this place is to the wandering eye, there is still so much more to see. Now, if I can just remember which of these doors was the right one. Aha! If you would kindly follow me right this way, we will proceed to our next feature. Tally-ho! Our next floor is where you will find our in-house nightclub. Whatever you thought you knew about a night in the town, you best put those notions to rest. This place is now the only party-going experience you will ever think about again. With all the exotic folks you'll meet here, and the spirit that they're bringing with them, I would dare you leave here having any less than a night you will never forget. And with the doors being open all hours of the day, I can assure you the only thing you will be disturbing on this floor is the peace. And yes, I did say all hours. You see, we've got all manner of lively folk finding their way to our abode literally all the time. The folks who say they'll sleep when they're dead are positively pansies standing next to one of these fine guests. Don't believe me? Look around. See the way the music moves them? How they move across that floor? Not an inch of ground left uncovered. The only advice for you in this world of wonders is to find something, or someone, who strikes your fancy, and to hold on tight. You'll find these fine partygoers will slip through your fingers if you're not quick enough. With that being said, we must carry on now, darling. We have a great deal of ground to cover before we reach your final destination. Aw, you seem to be looking rather weak in the knees. Well, I suppose I would be lying if I said the entertainment isn't famous for knocking the wind out of your sails. Never mind that, though. We are about to visit the floor where you can kick back and satiate some of your more literal appetites. Next stop on our tour, the dining hall. This wonderland of culinary delights will treat you to the greatest variety of dishes from across the ages, prepped by in-house staff with more years in their field than ants fried under a backyard scientist magnifying glass. Perhaps my favorite part of our dining hall, though, is that you can have whatever you want, whenever you want it. And I'm talking about more than just having cake for breakfast. Literally anything you can imagine, and maybe even a few things you can't, is here for your consumption. You want some whiskey with your eggs? No problem. Looking for a ceremonial smoke to spiritually awaken your love of chicken soup? Be my guest. We've got the finest selection of everything from prime rib to cheesecake to satisfy your cravings, and everything from craft beer to opioids for your other cravings. If you were to ask me where to start in our buffet of wonders, I tell you now, my personal favorite is a little delightful ayahuasca blend we discovered in the backwoods of Peru. If you have a dose of that concoction after it's really had time to simmer, then chase it down with some 19th century French absinthe, well, let's say you'll be awakening more than your taste buds in that endeavor. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What seems to be the trouble? Oh, why were there feeding tubes being fed down their throats? Ah, yes, I'm surprised you noticed that inconspicuous little feature. You see, the guests who sign up for that accommodation also sign up to be looked after in the most intimate, attentive way we can hope to provide. We keep exhaustive records on each and every one of our clients' tastes, desires, and preferences so that when they arrive, all they need to do is sit back and let us tend to their needs. They may not know it, but we keep a close watch on all our clients' habits and routines before they arrive. It allows us to provide every single guest with their own personalized treatment. You have your own too, custom created for you and you alone. Oh, but I shouldn't be letting on about that, should I? Better not to spoil the surprise. After all, we still have so much more to cover before you need to worry about that. On the 4th floor, you can help yourselves to our in-house gym. This is the perfect place for any and all to come and do a little workout on themselves, if you will. You can't be the most pristinely sculpted and chiseled version of yourself without putting in the work, after all. Have you ever tried to make an omelet without breaking a few eggs? It's a dreadfully idiotic endeavor. But never fear, this is a judgment-free zone. As a matter of fact, we pride ourselves on our haven of physicality being a purely collaborative effort. That's right. No matter what time you come and what routine you're practicing, we ensure that our patrons are buddied up. This way, you'll always have someone watching over every program you test and every gain you make. Isn't it wonderful? And being able to share your growth with someone. We do everything within our means to push all our patrons in every activity they undertake. And that's the beauty of our buddy system. Anytime you start getting accustomed to your routines, your partner in crime will be right there to raise the stakes and push you even harder, just as you will do for them. After all, how does one test new limits if they can't surpass old ones? Well, we best continue. Let our champions continue pursuing their spirit to make them win. Ah, this one is my personal favorite. This here is our dedicated sports center. Since there are games in progress, I'll have to explain its features to you from the sidelines. It's a shame the referees aren't more flexible about visitors because this place is absolutely exhilarating. Our facility is the absolute perfect place for anyone with a bit of a competitive streak to come and blow off some steam, and maybe get in a few digs while they're at it. And the best part of this place is that it's fully equipped to engage our clients in, quite literally, any sport they can imagine. You want hockey, football, boxing? Sure thing. Cross-country and gymnastics? Absolutely. We can host everything from martial arts tournaments to jousting to even lumberjacks. We even have a fox tossing arena. I mean, how many people can honestly make such a claim? Oh no, don't worry. We hold ourselves to an incredibly high standard. We would never allow animals of any kind to be harmed in our establishment. We simply substitute other patrons into that role. What? What do you mean that's dangerous? You really must take a second look at your surroundings. You've really got to live a little when the opportunity presents itself. Do you see those fine individuals? If they come here seeking action, they commit themselves to it fully, and you will find they are not as perturbed by that thought as you would think. They did sign up for this after all. Here we are. If you take a look below, you will see my absolute favorite place, the wave pool. You see how much of a crowd this little marvel draws? Trust me, it's a much greater sight to see up close. From up here, it all looks like a bunch of ants scurrying around, not knowing where to... Oh, watch this. The wave is coming. Look at them all go. See how wild they get when that wave starts throwing them around? I have worked for this institution for a very long time, but I never cease to find joy in little moments like that. The next step in our procession will be the sauna. Can anyone in history have possibly devised a more perfect method of relaxation? It certainly would take a lot to convince myself, never mind the patrons who lounge their days away here. I must say, this feature is a standout for the variety you have available. No towel-sharing, energy-leaking back rooms full of panting dogs in this sauna, no sir. Inside each structure you see are bathhouses, where each tub is flanked by a suite of individual steam rooms along every wall. I don't need to tell you the power that a long, deep soak in one of these places can do for body and mind. I swear, it's practically divine. However, if need be, you can take a break from the deep clean and step outside where you enjoy one of our fire pits. While I have no doubt you can warm your souls here all on your own, we have above what is absolutely the most breathtaking view of the clearest, most star-studded night sky you will ever have the pleasure of seeing. This haven is the perfect place for people to forget themselves for a while and enjoy what they have in the moment. Lord knows how much trouble people have with that these days. How much to stop for a soak? Oh, no, you misunderstand. You don't pay with any sort of currency. You yourself came here with no form of payment, if you remember. No, that's quite all right. As a matter of fact, no one you see here brings anything of monetary value when they come. Take a closer look at the fires. Do any familiar-looking shapes stand out to you? Perhaps the shape of a hand? Or maybe it's attached to an arm. You may find that if you look closely, the patrons of the fire pits are already pondering what the next piece of kindling will be. No, don't be concerned for them. The cost may seem too high to pay for such a trivial thing. You may also find that it is of vital importance for these folks. These simple little pits of flame provide our patrons with something they hold very dear: perspective. A little dose of that is a highly sought-after treasure that not everyone can capture. One thing I have come to learn myself is that one of the greatest lessons you can learn here is the importance of give and take. Many who spend their time here understand this better than anyone. Coming up is something I guarantee you have no hope of seeing anywhere else. This floor is home to our nature reserve. Yeah, you heard me right. We have here our very own plot of conserved land established within the confines of our establishment's walls. We have gone to great lengths with this exhibition to preserve and maintain everything you see here so our guests will have the privilege of experiencing the wild and breathtaking beauty of nature as it was meant to be. My recommendation to get the fullest experiences you can here is to go to the creek and then follow it to where the woodland and the prairie biomes meet. You will not only get a full-form view of nature along the creek, but you will be greeted with a truly humbling view when you reach the clearing. With all that said, though, I cannot understate how fortunate we are to have the active involvement of our patrons providing all the resources and upkeep needed to ensure the lasting integrity of this preserve. Although it is certainly a learning opportunity for those who involve themselves, it simply wouldn't be possible for us to maintain this paradise without the time and effort put in by... Oh, excuse me, you must not run on this path. You will startle the... Oh, look at what you've done. Yes, now you must run. That's it. Just a little further and you... Oh my, they are just absolutely ripping him apart. Oh, that is positively dreadful. My word, I wish you didn't have to see that. Unfortunately for some, though, that is what happens when you choose to run with the wolves. Nature has a way of sinking its teeth into you. All right, one more stop before we reach the end of our tour. And if you thought our previous exhibitions were sights to behold, then our theater will be damned sure to take away whatever breath you had left. We put on live shows of the widest scope and scale under every genre you can name, be it a romance and tragedy, comedy, and just a pinch of horror. It's certainly not on par with the average playgoer sensibilities, but we aim to surprise our guests in ways not even we can think of. What do I mean by that, you ask? Well, as you may have seen with our previous exhibitions, many of the activities we put on require patron participation, and here we take it just a tiny step further. Every play that's hosted on our stages is produced, acted, and choreographed by the patrons who book their stay on this floor. We even have people specializing in creating sets and props for Pete's sake. You see, every patron here has a story to share with the world. Whether they know it or not when they get here, they will find this environment to be perfect for coming into their own. And the stories and productions of yesteryear are all well and good as well, and we are more than happy to put on those shows for our patrons, perhaps with a twist here or there. We have come to learn that the greatest method of engaging your audience is to, well, give the shows to your audience. You may find yourself surprised at just what a person can do when they are made to commit to something. To explore those deep, dark recesses of their psyche and pull out something truly jaw-dropping. Still lost for ideas? Never fear. We have just the cure for the wicked mistress known as writer's block. Every balcony is accompanied with walls worth of bookshelves absolutely packed full of literature. All you need to do is ask one of our lovely librarians to throw you a bone. They would sooner kill than see our patrons stuck in a creative rut. Oh, bother, what terrible timing. We will have to leave before the final act of this play is complete. And just as the villain gets their just desserts, my word, and people don't understand why I hate cliffhangers. All right. Just one more floor to go, and we will be arriving at your room. Now that you've had your grand tour, what are your first impressions? Oh my, you don't look well at all. You're shaking up a storm, too. Please, tell me, what is the matter? Horrible? Aw, nonsense. This place is admittedly a lot to digest, but... Leave? I'm afraid our policy is use it or lose it in nature. There can be no returns or refunds once you have arrived. I know you're probably not used to our methods of treatment, but trust me when I say, your experience here will be completely unforgettable. And besides, you practically had to sell your soul to get a room like yours. But then again, you already knew that, didn't you? Oh, okay. And here we are at last. The suite you have booked is literally an attraction all in its own. Welcome to the penthouse suites. This is where you will learn what it feels like to have the world revolve around you. This is the place where every possible thing from your most dire needs to your most innocuous thoughts are catered to at the highest levels of services you can possibly imagine. This is also the floor where you will brush elbows with the high and mighty who reside here, at least in theory. You may find them to be occupied with their own affairs. That being said, you will soon join their ranks and learn for yourself just how captivating this experience will be. This floor, after all, only caters to the most highly sought after of our clients. And once we get your suite open, oh, here we are. Home, sweet home. Feel free to look around and get cozy. After the journey you've had, you're going to want to take some time to recharge. Admiring the view, are we? The floor-to-ceiling windows provide quite a unique... What do you mean you don't see anything? Darkness? Well, the things we see in the world tend to reflect what we see in ourselves. I only kid. Perhaps you ought to take a closer look. Now you see. The hands, the faces, the voices. Every moment of your life. You ever did something wrong. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? This is your personalized experience. All the information we have gathered on you. All the things you should not have done but did anyway. It's all coming to take a massive bite out of you. Every horrid decision you have ever made. Every life you have ruined in the search of your own selfish glory has led you to this room here and now. And this is the last stop on the tracks for you. This establishment has gone by many names over the years. But one thing hasn't changed. We are responsible for providing you and everyone else here the means to think about what they've done when the long day is done. The agony you suffer is entirely of your own making. All we do is show you to your suites. Help you. Just as self-important now as you ever were. You spent your whole life helping yourself. What makes you worthy to receive someone's help now? I suggest you sit back and take some time to think things over. You'll find time is the one thing you won't be short of here. Well, I really must be on my way now. We've been receiving so many clients lately, and there are so many who still need to be shown the way. But until I see you again, welcome to hell. May your time here be well spent.